Labor law relaxations for startups. In order to catalyze the creation of employment opportunities through startup ecosystem, central government decided to incentivize startups by provision of ease in regulatory compliance. In this connection, various incentives have been conceptualized under labor laws. In continuation to our startup series, we would now look at the various labor law relaxations provided by some states to startups in 8 of the series. Labor law relaxations. Startups recognized by DPIIT can complete a self-declaration within 1 year from the date of incorporation in order to get an exemption from labor inspection, 49 labor laws. Shram Suvida Portal, a unified portal by GoI allows startups to submit their self-certification under the applicable labor laws as an alternative to physical inspection up to 5 years if no complaints are received. The labor laws covered are as follows. The Industrial Disputes Act, 1947. The Trade Unions Act, 1926. Building and Other Constructions Workers Act, 1996. The Industrial Employment Act, 1946. The Interstate Migrant Workmen Act, 1979. The Payment of Gratuity Act, 1972. The Contract Labor Act, 1970. The Employees Provident Funds Act, 1952. The Employees State Insurance Act, 1948. For the first 1 year of setting up of unit startup may not be inspected under any of the 6 labor laws, BOCW Act, ISMW Act, Gratuity Act, Contract Labor Act, EPF Act and ESI Act, on self-certification. From second year onwards up to 5 years of setting up of unit, the startups can submit self-certified returns as an alternative to physical inspections under the 9 labor laws and 3 environment laws. Environment law relaxations. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, MoEFAN-CC, has published a list of 36 white category industries with the pollution index between 0 to 20. Startups falling under the white category would be able to self-certify compliance in respect of 3 Environment Acts. The Environment Acts covered under the scheme are as follows. The Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act, 1974. The Water Prevention and Control of Pollution, CES Amendment, Act, 2003. The Air Prevention and Control of Pollution, Act, 1981. Eligibility. Though the company is termed as a startup, up to 10 years from the date of its incorporation, the eligibility to self-certify shall be granted only up to 5 years from the date of incorporation. Maharashtra. The procedure for conducting inspections will be made simpler and will be on the lines of Startup India Action Plan. Startups shall be permitted to file self-certification in prescribed format for select government compliances. No inspections shall be conducted for a period of 7 years. Startups will also be able to do the self-certification through the mobile app portal. An entity will be considered as startup to be eligible for this incentive if it is incorporated as a private limited company, as defined in the Companies Act, 2013, or registered as a partnership firm registered under Section 59 of the Partnership Act, 1932, or a limited liability partnership under the Limited Liability Partnership Act, 2008, in Maharashtra, and up to 7 years from the date of its incorporation or registration. However, in the case of startups in the biotechnology sector, the period shall be up to 10 years from the date of its incorporation or registration. If its turnover for any of the financial years since incorporation or registration has not exceeded 25 Indian rupees crores, and if it is working towards innovation, development, or improvement of products, or processes, or services, or if it is a scalable business model with a high potential of employment generation or wealth creation, provided that such entity is not formed by splitting up or reconstruction of a business already in existence. Provided also that an entity shall cease to be a startup if its turnover for the previous financial years has exceeded 25 Indian rupees crore, or it has completed 7 years, and for biotechnology startups 10 years from the date of incorporation registration. Tamil Nadu. Startups meeting the eligibility criteria mentioned below can avail the listed non-fiscal benefits. Eligibility criteria: the company or entity is registered in the state under the Tamil Nadu Startup and Innova TN Mission TANSIM, and if it is incorporated as a private limited company, as defined in the Companies Act, 2013, or registered as a partnership firm registered under Section 59 of the Partnership Act, 1932, or a limited liability partnership under the Limited Liability Partnership Act, 2008 in India, and up to 7 years from the date of its incorporation or registration. However, in the case of startups in the biotechnology, artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning, ML, sectors, the period shall be up to 10 years from the date of its incorporation registration. And if its turnover for any of the financial years since incorporation or registration has not exceeded Is. 25 crores. Benefits available. Existing labor laws and technical regulations will be reviewed and simplified. Self-certification to be accepted from startups where there are no technical regulations which need to be complied with, such as compliance with EPFO, ESIC, minimum wages, bonus, gratuity, etc. Third-party certification alone will be required where technical regulations had to be complied with, such as Boilers Act, Factories Act, the Tamil Nadu Lifts Act, etc. TANSIM will engage with the government in policy advocacy in emerging and disruptive areas, as well as in regulatory dismantling for outdated regulations. Suitable regulations or orders will be notified under applicable state laws and codes to enable faster exits for startups that shut down in tandem with Government of India notifications. Rajasthan. In order to promote startups' ventures with the prime objective to create more employment opportunities, many initiatives to simplify regulatory provisions, including compliance by self-certification and filing of self-certified returns, have been conceptualized and rolled out. Enterprises may apply and submit online self-declaration through online portal of the Department, Labor Department Management System, LDMS. Once opted for the scheme, the same shall be valid for 5 years, provided that entrepreneur files annual return. Facility of filing single online return under labor laws is also provided on this portal. Andhra Pradesh. The ITES industry are permitted to file self-certifications for the following: the Factories Act, 1948. The Maternity Benefit Act, 1961. The Contract Labour, Regulations and Abolition Act, 1970. The Payment of Wages Act, 1936. The Minimum Wages Act, 1948. The Employment Exchanges, Compulsory Notification of Vacancies Act, 1959. AP Shops and Establishments Act, 1988. Others. Major startups are set up in cities like Delhi, Bangalore, etc. However, there are no state-specific relaxations regarding the labor law available for these states. Our comments: though some of the states have introduced self-certification route for startups, but in practice there are quite a few challenges faced.